Okay. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I am the Y2K Collector, and welcome back. It's the middle of the week, and we're getting ready to hit the weekend where we get another opportunity to get out there and see what kind of deals we can get, what kind of steals we can find, hitting up our game stops. I'm not sure if anyone is still doing yard sales. You can let me know in the comments, but I'm thinking yard sale season is over. So you're probably hitting up your thrift stores, your local retro game stores. Maybe you're going to Target. Maybe you're going to Walmart. Wherever you're going, hopefully you're finding the games you want at the best prices that you can find them. But for me, I have been doing a lot of curating of my retro collection, just because I didn't want to have a lot of games in my collection that I just either didn't care for or wasn't going to play. And as a human being, I'm only going to be given a certain number of hours on this earth, and I'm only going to be dedicating a small portion of those hours to playing video games. And with the way my backlog looks right now, I don't know if I'm going to get to all of it. So I wound up trimming some fat this year, trading in a lot of lower end games for maybe a few higher end games, trading for some consoles. And a lot of the games that I wound up selling over this year came from my PS1 collection. So I thinned out my PS1 collection a lot. At one point, I think I had about over 100 PS1 games. And I think at this point, I'm probably under 40 PS1 games. And so I just wanted to take a quick second to talk about the top 12 3D action platforming games that I have in my PlayStation 1 collection. And I want to talk about this because for me growing up, I was more N64 than PlayStation 1, to be honest. Like, my brother had a PlayStation 1 and I played PlayStation 1 because of him. But I was more into the N64 just because in my mind I felt like the N64 had better graphics. Maybe it didn't, but just to me, the N64 had better graphics, and I felt like the N64 had better 3D action platforming games. Largely due to games like obviously Super Mario 64, which was the big pull for the console. Think about Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64. All those games, those 3D platforming games, just made me think in my mind that the N64 was better. Also because, it had the cool little joystick, so, which just made 3D action platforming so much easier, in my opinion, than just the D-pad. And I'm talking before PlayStation added like the analog controls. When it was just the D-pad on the PlayStation, just 3D action platforming games just didn't seem as fun to me. I don't know. Maybe I had a skewed perception of things back then. But today, I did want to talk about those 12 action platforming games in the PlayStation 1, in my PlayStation 1 collection, which I wish I had known about back then, but I'm glad that I discovered them when I got older. I'm going to break it up into two parts, just to kind of make it a little bit easier to digest. So we're going to talk about the first 6 today, and these 6, I would say, are the more cutesy, more lighthearted 3D action platforming games. And I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the first one, which is Muppet Monster Adventure. And I didn't even know that this was a game back in the day that you could have got on the PlayStation 1, but it's a pretty cool 3D action platforming game. I don't think it's very common on the PlayStation 1 because you don't really see this game a lot. But I did pop it in and I did play it, and graphics look pretty good. I can't lie, for PlayStation. There's some games that have really rough graphics, but Muppet Monster Adventure was easy on the eyes, and the controls in this game are pretty cool. Pretty good rather, and the platforming is pretty good. So that's one game that I kept in my collection when it comes to the 3D action platforming. The second game is a game, again, I don't know how common this game is or how many people know about this one, but Kingsley's Adventure is another one that I kept in the collection. I like this one. I didn't really play a ton of it, to be honest with you. I think I popped it in, maybe got one session in. Again, the graphics were decent. If anyone knows more about this game, let me know, because I think I got this like a little while ago, and haven't really had much time to dive into this one. But Kingsley's Adventure is pretty cool. Played a little bit of it, and this is one that I did keep in the collection as well. Next one up here is Ape Escape. Now, I have played a bunch of Ape Escape. It took me a while to get used to the controls on Ape Escape, but I realized, like, when it comes to like 3D action platforming, Ape Escape to me felt the most like this feels like a game that I would have played on the N64. And I'm not sure if it's because it's Ape Escape and it's making me think of Donkey Kong, but the graphics in this game are pretty good. I think this is like Ape Escape is probably the best representation of a 3D platformer on the PlayStation 1. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If you think there's another game, graphics wise, sound wise, just gameplay wise, that plays better than Ape Escape from a 3D action platforming perspective, let me know down in the comments. But I think out of all of the ones I have, this one probably plays the best. Next up is a game that I also didn't play a ton of, and that's because this game is hard on the eyes, but Jersey Devil is a pretty interesting 3D action platformer. It's more on the darker side of the cartoon spectrum, but this was an interesting one. I got this a long time ago, and I don't even remember much about this game. I just know the graphics were a little rough, but it is cool. There's some cool characters in this game. It's just a pretty interesting story. I'd check it out, Jersey Devil. If you haven't heard of this one, I really couldn't tell you much about it because I haven't really played my PlayStation 1 games in a long time. But these are the ones that I kept. Next up, now this one I could spend a little more time on because I have played this one a good amount, and I also got the part 2 on the PlayStation 2. But that's Brave Fencer Musashi. So this is like a 3D action platforming, like hack and slash samurai ninja style game. And it's pretty cool. There's RPG elements, so you can learn new moves, you can learn new attacks. It's not just like I don't want to say a side scroller, because the game starts off almost from like this isometric viewpoint. And so attacking is a little weird, but when you get to the first boss, the camera angles change, and the way the levels are laid out, it just keeps you on your toes. This is a really like tough game to explain. You just kind of have to play it. Brave Fencer Musashi, but it is like a 3D hack and slasher. You do get cool moves. You can level up and power up and learn new moves and stuff. So this game is pretty cool. This also comes with like a bonus like Final Fantasy VIII collector's like CD, and it also came with like a mini manual for it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Almost like 2 games for the price of 1. So Brave Fencer Musashi, if you haven't heard of this one, definitely check it out. And then last but not least, this is actually a game that is on the N64. And that's Mega Man Legends, otherwise known as Mega Man 64. But Mega Man Legends is a pretty cool one. It's Mega Man. It, like, a lot of the characters and the way this game is laid out reminds me a lot of Adventures of Tron-Bonne. I don't own that game, but I do have it. I have the download version of that on my PS Vita. But Mega Man Legends is, you have your blaster. Think Mega Man, if you've played any of the Mega Man games just in a 3D format, graphics on this game are decent. I think the way the art style was done in this game kind of helps the graphics out. But the story's pretty good on this one. You know, the gameplay is good. I would check it out. And I know I'm giving some really lazy reviews on some of these games, but I'm not really a reviews guy. There's tons. If you want to know about these games, there's so many YouTube videos that you can go and just get a full, thorough review. So I don't want to do these games any injustice by giving them a half-hearted review, but it's really more so to show you that there are some interesting 3D platformers on the PlayStation 1 that you've never heard about, that you may have never heard about. And if any of these like interest you, if the art, you know, if any of the screenshots of the gameplay, if anything you see interests you, you know, definitely check out some YouTube channels, some YouTube pages. I'm sure they've got some great reviews that you can look up and see more about what these are about. But those are the ones that I kept in my collection. These are the ones that I do intend on getting back to. Some of them, many of them, I've had to push to the backlog, but they are going to be sticking around at least until I get a full play through. But that does it for me. I mean, let me know on the PlayStation. Like I said, the PlayStation 1, if you have a game, if there's a 3D platformer that looks better than Ape Escape, let me know about it. If it looks better and plays better and has better, you know, sound and voiceovers and stuff like that, let me know. But for now, enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you this weekend. I should have some more interesting content to share. And I think we're closing in on 1,000 subs. It's crazy. I didn't really realize how much the channel was growing until the other day. But I do want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. You know, video games are really cool. You know, after a long day, after a long week, you know, and you need kind of just a mental break. You need to just mentally just fade away. Sometimes there's nothing better than just diving into, you know, a video game, because a game could transport you into a wild jungle or into an outer space. You can be a ninja, a samurai, a Saiyan, a detective, whatever you want. So you know, thank you to everyone who's been following the channel and listening to me kind of just talk about some of the games that I'm into, and look forward to more of it. But for now, that does it. I am the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.